Ludwig van Beethoven, the revolutionary composer, for simple notes that would change the course of music history forever. This is the story of Ludwig van Beethoven, a man who transformed personal struggle into immortal art, who bridged the classical and romantic eras, and who composed some of humanity's greatest music, while losing the very sense that defined his existence. Act I. Origins and Early Genius. Born in Bonn, Germany, on December 17, 1770, Ludwig van Beethoven entered a world where music was both salvation and burden. His father, Johann, was a court musician with grand ambitions and a dangerous weakness for alcohol. Recognizing his son's extraordinary talent, Johann pushed the young Ludwig relentlessly, dreaming of creating another Mozart. By age 4, Ludwig was already at the keyboard. By 7, he was performing publicly. But unlike Mozart's charmed childhood, Beethoven's early years were marked by harsh discipline and his father's increasingly erratic behavior. Music became both his refuge and his prison. In 1792, at the age of 22, Ludwig van Beethoven made the journey that would define his destiny. He moved to Vienna, the musical capital of Europe. He came to study with Joseph Haydn, but their relationship was complicated. Haydn found his student rebellious and unpredictable. While Beethoven felt the master was too conservative for his revolutionary ideas, Vienna embraced the young composer. His piano performances were legendary, powerful, emotional, unlike anything audiences had heard. He wasn't just playing music, he was channeling something primal, something that spoke to the changing spirit of an age on the verge of revolution. Act 2. Triumph and Tragedy. The success, however, came with a devastating price. By his late 20s, Beethoven began to notice something terrifying. His hearing was failing. For a composer, this was not just a professional catastrophe. It was an existential nightmare. In 1802, at the age of 32, Beethoven wrote what became known as the Heiligenstadt Testament, a letter to his brothers that was never sent. In it, he revealed his despair. "For me, there can be no relaxation with my fellow men, no refined conversations, no mutual exchange of ideas. I must live alone, like one who has been banished." But from this darkness came light. Between 1803 and 1812, Beethoven entered what we now call his heroic period. It was as if his personal struggle had unlocked something magnificent. The Third Symphony, the Eroica, revolutionized what a symphony could be. Longer, more complex, more emotionally powerful than anything before it. The Fifth Symphony followed, with its famous opening motif, those 4 notes that announce fate knocking at the door. Then came the Sixth, the pastoral painting nature in musical colors, the Emperor Concerto, the Violin Concerto. One masterpiece after another, each pushing the boundaries of what music could express. Yet personal happiness remained elusive. Beethoven loved deeply but never married. His letter to the immortal beloved, a woman whose identity remains one of music's greatest mysteries, reveals a man capable of profound passion. My angel, my all, my very self. Can our love endure except through sacrifices? Through not demanding everything from one another? His deafness worsened. By 1814, conversation became impossible without written notes. The man who had given the world some of its most beautiful sounds was trapped in an ever-deepening silence. Act 3. Transcendence and Legacy. In his final years, completely deaf, Beethoven created works of unprecedented spiritual depth. The last 5 piano sonatas, the late string quartets, and the monumental Ninth Symphony, music that seemed to come from another realm entirely. The Ninth Symphony, completed in 1824, crowned his career. Its final movement, the Ode to Joy, set Schiller's words about universal brotherhood to music of transcendent power. Here was a deaf man's vision of a world united in song, All men shall become brothers, performed by a composer who could not hear a single note of his creation. The Beethoven's health deteriorated rapidly in his final years. Liver disease, possibly from lead poisoning, weakened him progressively, yet he continued to compose, continued to fight. On March 26, 1827, during a thunderstorm that seemed to mirror his tempestuous life, Ludwig van Beethoven died at the age of 56. And the Vienna mourned. 20,000 people attended his funeral, a testament to how deeply his music had touched the world. The immortal legacy. Beethoven's true revolution was not just musical but philosophical. He transformed the composer from a servant of aristocracy into an independent artist. He showed that music could be a vehicle for the most profound human emotions: struggle, triumph, love, loss, transcendence. Today, more than 2 centuries later, his music remains as powerful as ever. From concert halls to film scores, from classical stages to popular culture, Beethoven's voice continues to speak to the human condition. He proved that from the deepest personal darkness can emerge the most radiant light, and that the human spirit, like his music, is truly indestructible. Ludwig van Beethoven, the man who heard the music of the spheres in perfect silence and shared it with the world forever.